Welcome to episode 340 of Pub Theology Live, a weekly conversation on life and faith over a craft brewed pint, a fine wine, or whatever happens to be in your glass. On today's episode, the Reverends Ogun Holder and yours truly, Brian Burkhoff, address and engage what's happening through a theological lens with a good brew in hand.
And whether you're a longtime listener or you are new to the show, you can get more content. Become a subscriber on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/ptlive. Hear our pre and post show banter, which sometimes is related to the content of the show, but more often is not. So I don't know if that's an encouragement or detractor from signing up. But either way, if you do sign up, we still have a few pint glasses, Pub Theology Live pint glasses left that we will ship to you free as a thank you for becoming a subscriber. So that's patreon.com/ptlive. And as always, thank you to our current patrons. Once again, we are without Shannon, and continued prayers as her family navigates through their loss, but also happy birthday to Shannon, because she also recently celebrated her birthday.
Yay! Happy birthday,
So,
Shannon.
happy birthday. She's got a lot going on. But today we will be discussing new holidays, the thought police, and public Bible reading. All right. So yeah, that'll be interesting because I only in little inside peek, I only saw this script about 15 seconds before we recorded. So I don't know where any of this is going. But
Fresh takes,
fresh
unfiltered.
takes, unfiltered, unthought stream of consciousness, buyer beware. So what are you imbibing for today's episode, Brian?
Well, I am going to enjoy your favorite, a
Oh
LaCroix.
no. Oh
This is
no.
the beach plum flavor. Not beach bum, but beach plum. There's like a picture of the peach on there. And I'm going to spruce it up by adding a little Jack Pine gin from Northern Latitudes Distillery.
So I mean, so it's not a gin and tonic. It's a gin and is a gin and what? What do
It's
you
a
what do you
gin
call
and
it?
sparkling water. It's close enough.
Oh my god.
Close enough.
It's not close enough at all. Not even close. I'm going
Yeah, what do
with
you got?
the cider, local cider. It's a mango cider
Nice.
from a company called Bandita. Yeah, it's a Portugal cider. I
Sweet.
like their ciders. They're not overly sweet compared to some of the other ciders that we import from the UK or the US here. Um, so I can imbibe in a good way.
Cheers.
Salute. Salute.
All right. If you could create a new holiday, any holiday, you've created it, what would it be and how would people celebrate it?
Yeah, this would have been great if I'd previewed the skit. But
So
so
I'll throw out a
but
couple while you think about it. I think here in the US, we should make voting day a holiday, a federal holiday, so that people can get out to vote. They don't have to navigate work or the lines or not vote because the lines are long and I'm going to be late for my job or I work till late and the polls have closed. If you have the day off, you can vote and it will encourage voter participation. So this one's not very fun, right? It's kind of basic. People have talked about it. I need to think about something that's sort of off the
I
wall.
mean,
So
people have talked about it, but nothing's ever been done about it.
nothing has
And
been
I
done.
and I feel like if you make a public holiday, it should be like a Friday or a Monday, and you do a 3-day weekend, and you can vote all weekend.
Oh, see, now it's even new and improved.
New and improve, because again, even if you just have the one day, even if it's the day off, like you're still gonna have long lines
And maybe
and
worse
all the
lines.
mess, right? So
Good
and
point.
then there's people who are like would take that day off just to chill and not actually go vote. But if you got 3 days back to back where you can
Love
go
it.
vote, you got no excuse for
I'd
not
say
getting to
let's,
vote.
and I'd say let's make it Monday since it's already voting is usually a Tuesday. We just move it one day and you get that
One day
little
back.
extended weekend.
Exactly. Exactly.
Love it.
And yeah, and if you think about it, then if you can vote Saturday, Sunday, Monday, just do it Saturday, get it out of the way, chill the rest of the time. Because the last thing you want to do is spend your Monday standing in line,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get
right?
it done, and then you got 3 days to enjoy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Love it.
And because the church folk ain't the church folk ain't gonna be in line on Sunday.
Right.
So like all the heathens and atheists can go vote on Sunday.
Mm,
Or church field trip to go vote on Sunday.
there you go.
I like it. I like it. Because
Right.
there are already churches who organize like, they get the bus to go pick up the old
Yeah, yeah.
folk,
Rides
to
to the
take them to the
polls.
polls. Yeah. Make it a whole church day.
I
I think.
like it. I like it.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking more fun like my birthday. Make but then you have to make everybody's a birthday and
Are
then
we making your birthday the one holiday for everyone?
well, I was just saying now after you do it for my birthday, you have to do it for everyone's birthday, which means every day is a holiday. So
Right.
I
Kind of
didn't think that
cancels
was
itself out.
kind of cancels itself out. Um, but I
Well,
think go ahead.
so what if everyone's birthday was their own holiday? So if you didn't have to work on your birthday, you know what I mean? Like it was automatic exemption,
Listen,
paid holiday.
it's like you're in my brain because the very next thing I was about to say was rather than just birthday, maybe everyone could just pick a day that's their holiday. So there you go. It could
Okay.
be a birthday. We can go with that. The other new holiday thing that I am thinking of is the seasonal changes. So like there's the first day of spring, there's the
Oh,
first day of summer,
yeah.
first day of fall. Even though they're mostly arbitrary days that we picked, let that be a day off. So like go, or maybe the summer solstice, the winter solstice, those be holidays.
Or the day after the time change, the Mondays after the time change in the
Yes.
US. That'd be nice.
Yes. Yes. I have a better idea. Get rid of the fucking time change.
That's even better. And we would have a holiday celebration and a hell
Hey,
of a day.
hell of a day.
Celebrating that the time change is done with, and let's just stay on this daylight savings so that there's more light in the evening, less in the morning. Like you're sleeping anyway. You don't need the sun to rise so early.
Facts.
Sorry,
Facts, facts,
preaching to the
facts.
choir. Here's one
No,
last
I
one.
agree. Okay.
People have proposed the Monday after the Super Bowl Sunday is a holiday so that you can have your Super Bowl party, you can have a bunch of beverages, and you don't have to stroll into work sort of half hungover.
So I'm not mad at that idea because like in Barbados, the day after our big carnival crop over,
Yeah,
the yeah is a national holiday.
there you go.
So people don't have to worry about that. Um, but my issue is you're saying the Super Bowl, then what happens to the World
I
Series,
know.
the NBA playoffs,
I
the
hear
like
you.
Stanley Cup, like so maybe the four major sports, like the biggies, after the day after every championship, like the next working day, make the championship on a Sunday for each sport, and then you get the Monday off.
But the challenge is the other three major sports are 7 game series. The thing about the Super Bowl is it's one game and you know the championship is decided.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a 7 game series, you don't know is it going to be game 4, 5, 6, or 7 that decides it.
True. So maybe then, okay,
It's a
people don't like
moving
this as
target.
much. It is, but it's an achievable target, even if it's moving, right?
It's true.
I mean, because when you think about,
But like, can you imagine you're rooting for a certain team because then I'll have tomorrow off. But if the other team wins, you got to work. So then you're like stuck in this, how can I know if I'm working or not? Like that feels very tricky.
so you're talking about it's just the city of the winning team gets the day off. I thought
No, no, no. I'm
everybody's getting
saying
it.
the country, the
Oh, the
day
country,
after a team wins
right?
the championship, the whole country gets the next day off.
Mm.
Isn't that what you were
Gotcha,
saying?
gotcha, gotcha. Yes, yes, yes. I don't know why went off on a tangent there, but I mean, I think it's doable, or you can do like um maybe if it's not the very next day, but you need the next day because of the celebration.
Right.
So right. So what you need to yeah, I don't know. I
It's
don't know. I
tricky.
think they can do it. I think
I
I
think
think
what
the last minute people are told not to show up for work, they'll be okay.
they could they could swing it, but the company who has
Be okay.
deadlines, meetings, production schedules might be trickier. I think let's start with the Super Bowl because you can plan ahead.
That's true. And we know it's always on a Sunday,
Right.
and we know the Monday afterwards.
It's
So okay,
a baby step.
maybe baby step. Also, maybe all the other sports don't need 7 game series because
Well,
that's
or they
long.
do because like my Pistons as the number one seed might lose in the first round tonight.
You know what? That's on them. That like
Frauds. They are
you been
frauds, Ogan.
if you've been playing that well all season and you're number one seed and you can't get past the first round, that's on you.
That's that is
I don't
a
know what to
hundred
say.
percent on you.
I don't know what else to say.
I'm
Yeah,
hanging on
we're
to a
on.
sliver of hope. They win tonight, then it goes back to Orlando. You win that one. Game
Oh,
seven
yeah,
at
that's not
home.
happening. That's coming back from three. What did it? The 3-1,
They're
right?
down 3-1.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen, in 2003, they were the one seed. They were down 3-1 to the eight seed Orlando Magic again, and they brought in Tayshaun Prince to start instead of coming off the bench. They came back, won the series, and the next year they won the finals.
I remember that because that was the first year we had moved to Kansas City, and I had started teaching in the charter school in downtown Kansas City.
Okay.
And the kids were very happy that I was an NBA fan.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Who do you think's gonna win?" And I said the Pistons, and they all laughed at me.
Yeah.
All the kids. They're like, "Mr. Holt, are you crazy? The Pistons?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Think the Pistons gonna pull this out, man?"
Let's go.
And they didn't, and that team didn't have like a big single star or nothing,
Correct.
right? I mean, Chauncey Billups was like the biggest star they had, and he was not really a star.
Right. Right.
Bless his
Yeah.
heart on the way to
And
prison
now
now,
he's indicted
but
for gambling. So, you
right,
know. Mr. Big
right.
Shot. Going all
Mr.
in.
Big Shot. He went all in. Nice.
Oh my gosh.
But
Wow.
yeah, so I do remember that year. That was a good year for me. I earned a lot of cred with
You
my
did.
kids
Yeah.
because I called the Pistons. And I remember when
That's
after they won, I came in and they're like, "Okay, Mr. Holder, we see you. We see you." It's
exactly.
like,
Well
there you go.
done. Well done. But this year they're done. So we can move on. We can move on. All right. First Corinthians 2, verse 11 says, "For who knows a person's thoughts except their own spirit within them? In the same way, no one knows the thoughts of God except the Spirit of God." That's the text. So, question, is this text saying that God doesn't know what people are thinking because no one knows a person's thoughts except that person? Or is it just that no other person knows their thoughts? So do you think it's ruling out God or just other people don't know what someone's thinking?
So it can't be ruling out God because you can't say that in one breath and then the next breath say God is omniscient,
Well, but correct, but this text
right?
seems to imply it.
It seems to imply it.
No, no one's
how,
saying that
but how dare we have text in the Bible that seems to contradict each other?
contradict a theological point of view. The Bible often contradicts theological. Like, there's no rule that says the Bible has to say God is omniscient.
This is very true. It does
Like
seem to
we
imply
just
it.
assume
This seems
God
to
is
imply it.
omniscient,
Yeah.
but I just found this text interesting because it seems to say, yeah, maybe there's a zone in which God doesn't know. So then the follow-up question is, if God does know our thoughts, is that comforting or horrifying to you?
Oh, definitely horrifying. Definitely.
Right? It's
Def-
not good.
definitely horrifying. Yeah, it was the I would say the source of all my angst as a teenager,
Right?
as a hormone riddled teenager,
Correct.
and also a young adult when I still believed in God, knowing all my thoughts. That especially that if you even look at another person's wife, which I extended to girlfriend, and coveted them, then you just had to think about it. I was like, oh great. So I mean, if I so the logic was, first of all, so God's reading my mind, sinful thoughts. God knows my thoughts. I'm having sinful thoughts. So if I have the sinful thought, uh, having the thought is committing to sin. I might as well do the action, right? Because I've already sinned by having the thought.
Heyo.
So
Oh my word.
if I'm gonna be punished for not doing the thing, I might as well do the thing.
Hey, as Martin Luther said, if you're going to sin, sin boldly.
Sin boldly, right? So there's that. But again, no, I don't believe again from the so I'm answering from the paradigm of God as a being or entity separate
Yeah,
from
this
us,
question is assuming that view.
right? Which is not the view that I hold theologically.
Understood.
But holding that view, then it it is bizarre that we would set up a theological premise that says God knows our thoughts, but then set up these benchmarks of pure thoughts, unpure thoughts, sinful thoughts, unsinful thoughts. Then I mean, we basically live in this cycle of asking for forgiveness, right? Because
Right.
half the time we can't control our thoughts. Things pop into our mind.
Right.
There's an unconscious, there's a subconscious, there's like yeah, half the time like thoughts come into my head and the work is to stop them from getting out of my mouth. Like
Right.
that's the thing. And sometimes I fail at that. And as the words are coming out of my mouth, like as soon as they come out, I'm like, I wish I could turn the clock back 5 seconds and not said that thing aloud.
So when you moved to a view that did not see God as an entity separate from us, was this one of the chief reliefs that, oh, no one's
Oh my
reading my
God.
mind?
It was like a weight was lifted off.
Right.
Right. Think whatever I wanted to think it without it turning into like this like theological dilemma,
A
this
whole thing.
whole thing,
Yeah.
right?
And this
But then
text
it's
does say no one knows your thoughts but you. So you could,
right. I don't think we know our own thoughts until so let me rephrase that. Yes, we know our thoughts, but we are not in control of the thoughts that pop into our brain. All of them.
not all
We
of
can
them.
right. We
Agreed.
can consciously think of things
Yeah,
and then we sit in there and like thoughts pop in our brain,
correct.
you know.
So do you think that people who do believe in God as a an entity that exists outside of any person, um, could hold the view that God does not know our thoughts? Like, can we have like a not
No, I
omniscient
don't.
but partial, not partial shint? I don't know how to say it. Not omniscient, mini niscient,
Omniscient mini mission.
mini niscient.
Oh, that's hilarious. I want to say show title, but I don't know.
I
Mini
don't know. I
mission.
don't think it works. Only
I
if
don't think it works.
you have to hear the whole framing.
Right, right.
But
Mini
but
mission.
but can but
Yeah.
can we say that God doesn't? Do you think it's a legit view that God doesn't know everything?
So, I mean, it depends again on your view of God because
Yeah,
there are folks who like. I think this is the gist of process theology, right? That as we're evolving, God is evolving in a sense,
right. Which is
right?
more where I would lean.
Yes. So if that's the case, then no, I don't think there's God being able to read our thoughts, but it's hard to say that because of the level of power of
The model
I want
we've
to
been
say
handed.
right the oversight the relationship what we have said God is
Yeah,
as yes as this all powerful all knowing all everything right all the omnis like
exactly.
you know but I think also what needs to come in here is the idea of grace because you gotta believe in a God that gives you grace for the thoughts that you don't consciously pull into your brain,
Right, right.
right? Otherwise, look, everybody's going to hell,
Yeah, yeah.
unless or everybody's spending every day asking forgiveness for the random errant thought.
Yeah,
That's
and
no
it's
way to
almost
live.
like the text that talks about the Spirit interceding for us in um, ways that are beyond our awareness or words or something like that. It's sort of like, yeah, there's that level of grace that, you know what, people are going to be people, humans are human, and we're going to be do, do say think things that later will be like, shouldn't have
Yeah.
done that, shouldn't have thought that. And so
And I think
there has to be some grace built in.
I also think the idea of God being able to eavesdrop on our brains is just another form of control, right?
Yeah.
The Santa Claus God always knows if you're sleeping, awake, all the things, always watching. So you have to basically be on point all the time.
And isn't the song He knows what you've been thinking? He knows when you're awake? Is that, am
No,
I
he
making
knows
that up?
when you're making that up. He knows if when you've been sleeping. He knows when you're awake. But the next Santa's good, but he's not that good.
He's not.
But the next line is he knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake,
Right,
right?
right,
So there's still the sort of like the omniscient sense of we're like Santa's compiling a list of
right.
your deeds
Yeah,
and will base his gifts on that
yep,
sort of deal, which is part of the God view, right? God's compiling a list of your deeds, and you know, day of reckoning, that big book is opened, and some people are like, He will weigh the God will look at your deeds and how you lived your life.
right.
You know, some theologies are like, yeah, you ask for forgiveness, earnest forgiveness and repentance, you'll get it, you're good. Um, and but I think it is a form, almost a form of like spiritual trauma to say to someone, you're not you're not just always being watched, you're always being listened to, and the bugs in your head. Like,
Right.
you
That's why I
don't
put
get
thought
a
police in
moment.
there because it's like thought
Right.
police.
You don't get a moment. And I don't I don't believe that's the intention of God. Or I always, and conversely, I always go back to that passage when people talk about, our prayers are not about changing God's mind, our prayers about changing us, that
Right.
sort of deal. And I remind people, well, there was that one moment God got really pissed off with the Israelites when they built the calf, and he was about to wipe them out.
Yeah.
And Moses had to go like, time out, take a breath, God, take a moment, count backwards from 10, and remember, these are the people that you said were your chosen people that you got out of bondage. It might not be a good look if you wipe us out now,
Might
sort
not
of
be a
deal.
good look.
Yeah. So uh, it's all about one's view of how one's Christology, one's theology. And for me, I always err on the side of the theology and the Christology that causes me less trauma.
There you go. That's a good rule of thumb. Good rule of thumb.
That's all I'm saying.
So, one last question before we move on from this one. Will we ever get to a point where AI can read our thoughts?
Well, I mean, according to Joe Rogan, AI might be the return of Christ. We don't know. Have you not
What?
have you not
I missed
you not
that.
heard this line of thinking?
I missed it.
Oh, yeah, you have to look that up. For a hot minute there, I think it was Joe Rogan, or some of those other bizarre manosphere folks
Right.
were like, how do we know that AI is really, when we talk about the second coming of Christ, how do we know that AI is not that? I'm like, mm,
I think
I've heard of taking a reach, but my God, man,
that's a
that's
reach.
no pun
Exactly.
intended, but my God, man, that's too much.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
so I'm sorry, answer your question again about AI.
Well, so will our technology slash AI have the
Mm.
ability to read our minds, or, so that we could communicate via thought versus having to write or express or type?
Well, I mean, to some extent, that's already happening,
Is it?
and not. So when you look at what's happening with the Neuralink company, one of Elon Musk's
Right.
projects, and in for paraplegics implanting chips in their brain to in order to have their thoughts control electronic things and control uh,
Or type out
artificial
words or
speech or whatever type of
yeah.
words. So yeah, so there's some of that happening. It's still very much in the experimental phase. They've done tests on animals with it, and there seems to be some. It seems to be working for some folks, right? So I read not too long ago about a guy who had the Neuralink implant, and he's out playing video games like with his mind. So
All right.
like
All right.
I think we are going to get to the point where we are implanting chips or whatever that will connect us, and we will have this like instantaneous in our mind connection, whether it's to the internet, to an AI. Like that's coming. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
So it'll be like the
And
Matrix when he says, I'm going to learn jujitsu.
I don't. Well, here's the thing. I don't know if it's going to be input. I don't know if this is a two-way sort of
Well,
like
yeah, like can I
interaction,
just download Spanish or
right?
Portuguese?
Yeah. I mean, we might get there eventually, but I don't think that's coming anytime soon. But what will come soon is our ability for, and again, it's happening because we know parts of the brain fire up when we need to do certain things, right? We can map the activity in the brain and create those interfaces. I don't know about receiving input. That's a whole different
That's a whole
thing.
different deal. Yeah.
Yeah, but that being said, that's your question was about reading our thoughts in our minds. I don't know that's going to happen because from what I know, and again, not my field of expertise, but I'm thinking sort of predominantly happens in our prefrontal lobe, but it's a whole brain activity.
Mm,
So,
right.
or even if the thoughts are in here, it activates other parts of a brain. And so I don't know but what the fuck do I know? And
Yeah.
I didn't think we would be here where we are. That's not true. I did think we would get where we are. I didn't think we would do it in my lifetime,
Right.
or that it would look as sloppy as it does.
Yeah.
I was recently watching um, um, was it John Oliver last week tonight? He did a whole piece about AI, and the concern is all of these like AI chat bots, like um, giving people not giving people but supporting folks in their suicidal ideations and um, causing help in some cases actually helping people commit suicide
Right.
and
Right.
all the things. We got the AI delusions. Some dude being convinced he'd created a new form of math. Just people leaving their marriages
Yeah. Yeah. Or
because
attacking their partner.
all sorts of craziness, falling
Yep.
in love with their AI chatbots,
Right.
just ridiculousness. But it's again, um, can we're getting to a point, unfortunately, where like technology and humanity are becoming more and more fused and
Right.
interrelated, and some people are just a little too quick to lose themselves in it,
Yeah.
and that's scary.
Yeah.
That's the horrifying part.
Right. So what we need is just to get back to the Bible. Last week there was an
Or that'll fix it.
that'll fix it.
Wow.
Last week there was an event in DC called America Reads the Bible, in which celebrities, religious leaders, and political leaders read portions of the Bible, including President Trump. What do you imagine the goal is or was for the leaders of an event like this? And can a public reading of a religious text like this have a positive impact on society? And at what level does this reflect genuine spirituality? And at what level does it feel like performative religiosity?
Well, I think the positive impact comes down to what passages you read.
It's fair. It's very fair.
Right? Because you know, we could read love your neighbor, turn the other cheek, or we could read Smite Your Enemy.
You could read the
Like,
Pulp Fiction Bible.
you can read the Pulp Fiction Bible. So it all depends on which passages you pick,
It really does.
you know. But I again, if you're gonna read the Bible, are you also gonna read the Tao Te Ching? Are you also gonna read, you
Yes.
know,
I
text
mean,
of
yes, you should, but not
right?
yes, that's what happened. It did not happen.
Exactly, exactly. So I mean, for me, it's like read them all or don't read any of them. And if you're gonna read the one, then find passages that support unity and peace
An interfaith
and
understanding.
interfaith understanding. Yes,
Yeah,
as
because
opposed.
if
Go
this
ahead.
was just a private group, you can do whatever you want. But as soon as you involve politicians and it's sort of public witness of the state or state officials, then you are 100% right. You got to do all of them.
Yes, yes. I also think you should not have people read from the Bible when it's very clear they are not reading the Bible except for that day.
Oh, snap. No one in particular.
No, no names called, no fingers pointed.
Let the reader understand.
Yeah, Mister 2 Corinthians.
Exactly. Who got to read from 2 Chronicles? I made up some quote that I posted to social media that because he was reading from Second Chronicles that he said something like, I'm so deeply honored to have been asked by the 2 Chronicles to read from the Bible. And
Yeah.
both of them insisted that I do it, so I will. And I went on for another sentence or two. Someone got mad at me because they thought that was a real quote, and I wasn't clear enough that it was sarcasm or satire. And I'm like, on the one hand, fair because this guy's
Yeah.
possible to say anything, but like both Chronicles asked me to read, like, no, he's not going to turn them into people. Like he's dumb, but he's not that dumb.
Oh my goodness. One never knows. One never knows.
But so I
Um,
think so. In answer to the last question, is this genuine spirituality or performative? I think it depends on who, because I think for some of them it is genuine and they do feel like this is needed and it's a core part of their own faith practice and they read the Bible on their own. But for
right.
some, there is no real faith life to speak of, and they're doing it performatively because it's what their voters will appreciate.
Yes. Yes. And the cynical part of me is anytime a politician does it, it's before excuse me, performative.
Yeah, it's fair. It's kind of
You
fair.
know, and even when some religious leaders do it, it's also performative.
It's
I
true.
will I will give them more the benefit of the doubt, but for me, a politician doing it is I automatically assume it's performative, regardless of their personal faith. Because if it's your personal faith, it shouldn't be there in the first place. That's my view.
Yeah.
And I know there's this like strong. There's always been a strong movement, but an even stronger movement now to try to make the case that the U.S. is a Christian society built on Christian values and
Oh
should only be
gosh.
Christian.
Yeah.
You know, but even if we give that some leeway, it's not all forms of Christianity that
Hmm.
are usually the people who are preaching it the loudest.
Hmm. Yep.
um, so yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I when we have politicians doing things like this, I look at them as stunts and I just roll my eyes and keep on moving.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of stunts, at the White House Correspondents' Dinner over the weekend, there was a shooting attempt or a potential shooting attempt and a suspect apprehended. Some believe this was staged, others that it simply reflects the ongoing discord and divisiveness that are present in our country at this moment. What are your thoughts about what happened? Before I get to the other questions, what are your thoughts? Was this staged? Was this a legit attempt that was thwarted?
So I just like to say to people that um, has there been an attempt on a president's life since Reagan? I mean, excluding Trump, since Reagan, was there an attempt on a president's life? I can't. I don't.
I saw a post that said Obama had a number of attempts, but they were just handled quietly. And so you wonder if it's almost like they apprehended a person who was going to do a thing, but never did the thing. So
Right.
maybe, but in terms of actually being shot, like Reagan was at that same hotel, actually, it was at the
I
Washington
know.
Hilton, and
Yeah.
it was on my birthday. I remember that because I was like six or something. Um,
Uh,
I don't know. That's a good question. I think maybe
and
not, right?
I don't. I don't think so. Someone who's listening, fact check and let us know.
Please fact check.
But, um, and this is what number three on Trump, because we had the shot at the rally. They cut the guy on the golf
The golf
course,
course guy.
and now this guy.
The difference is that the golf course guy and this guy never got a shot off. Like it was,
But but my point is, they were there ready
but
to
they were
do it.
there.
I
Yes.
mean, the guy, the correspondence, he did get a shot off. He just hit a.
No, it actually is not clear who fired the shots, and many are thinking actually it was the Secret Service who fired the shots when he rushed past their security checkpoint.
Oh, so it was probably, it might have been a Secret Service agent who shot
It
another
was
Secret
friendly
Service agent.
fire, is what
Friendly
most
fire. Oh, okay,
believe. Yes.
okay. Um, but the point I'm making is like, the I don't think is an accident that this president is the one that's having all these attempts.
Because it only happens to the
Like,
great ones, according to him.
sure, let's go with that one.
Yeah, right.
um, so no, I don't believe it was staged. Um,
Yeah.
I don't believe it was staged at all. I would almost have felt more relieved if it was, but the point, but and let me explain. Brian's like laughing.
I am laughing.
No,
Tell
no,
me more.
I'd been more relieved, because then it wouldn't have been an indication of just the extreme level of vitriol we're reaching, where somebody feels I need to go
Yeah.
take the
No,
president's
that's right.
life.
That's right.
Right. So that's what I mean by that. Um, or that, it's reflecting that we have such an awful president that somebody's like, okay, he's really got to go. Like,
But the converse
so
is we have such an awful president that he will stage his own assassination to shift the news cycle.
I mean, there's that too, right? So awful all around.
Yeah, neither is good.
But the problem with the conspiracy things around it, is that it just further divides,
Right.
right? And then we don't believe when, like, both sides of the aisle, Republicans, Democrats, everyone's saying like, we all abhor political violence.
Right.
Okay. And so if you have both sides saying we don't think this is like, yeah, we don't like Trump, but this is not the way to handle it,
Yes.
right? What all the
100%.
all the conspiracy theories from either side do is they keep that divide going.
Right. Right.
Um, so
So is
yeah,
there ever a scenario in your mind in which violence against a political leader is justified?
um, I I want to say yes, but I have to say no.
Like Hitler's the classic example,
Right.
right? Like if someone had
Yes.
just taken him out sooner, countless lives could have been saved.
Well, I mean, there's so many flaws with that theory, right? Because
Yeah, tell
because
me.
because if it wasn't Hitler, that doesn't mean there wouldn't have been someone else. So Hitler wasn't the one who created anti-Semitism, who created anti-Jewish sentiment, but Hitler was the one who, because of time, place, charisma, whatever you want to call it, was able to harness that energy
That's right.
and build this movement.
Right.
Right? There's always someone who's harnessing the energy that's already there. You know, so we take Trump out. Trumpism and MAGA doesn't end. If anything, it gets bigger, because now we have a martyr, right?
That's
So
fair.
so 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 killing the politician or the leader doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah.
Now, if we could get them out before they start the MAGA movement, maybe. I don't know. That would require time travel.
Well, and
But
there's always the like theoretical question, like if you could go back in time and kill baby
right,
Hitler,
yes,
would that be morally justified when he's an innocent child?
right, and again
You have
because
to say no.
yeah, but it wouldn't also because again Hitler wasn't the one who fermented anti-Semitism.
No, but I think when you see figures like Hitler and current people, they have this unique charisma that capitalizes in a way that I'm not sure anyone else could have done.
Okay, so let's reverse this and say, or not reverse it. No, we don't have to reverse it.
Like
We have
Goebbels
evidence of this.
was a dweeb. He's not going to rally millions of Germans to nationalist Germany and
No, no, but that isn't so. Taking out the leader doesn't end the movement. Okay, Martin
Mm,
Luther King Jr., Mahatma Gandhi.
Jesus
I
Christ.
mean, Jesus Christ.
I was
But
not
taking out
swearing.
Jesus' death started the movement,
Right.
really,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So we have examples where the movement either was bigger than the leader or the death of the leader, accented the movement.
Yeah. Was the accelerant.
Right, was excellent, elevated the movement.
Yeah.
So I believe that if someone had taken out Hitler when he was chancellor of the Third Reich, that I believe that's what would have happened. It would have just made things worse.
So there
And
was who was the pastor, the famous German Lutheran resistance pastor, Bonhoeffer, who was part of an attempt on Hitler's life, even though
mm-hmm,
he was nonviolent and a pacifist, but he said this moment requires one evil deed because it will prevent more evil deeds. Or he had some way of like
yeah, justifying
justifying
it.
his action, even though it went against his own principles.
Yeah. That's where he and I part ways.
You're,
Honestly,
you're,
honestly,
you're going on the record.
I'm going on the record. Down with Bonhoeffer for almost everything else, but
Right,
that's where he and I part ways.
right.
No, I don't believe that is going to solve the problem because the move, yes, it takes a certain level of charismatic leader to make a movement go as big as it does. Third Reich, MAGA, civil rights, whatever.
Yeah,
However, oh, forgot to add Malcolm X to that list.
yeah,
When you take people out on a movement that's already fermented,
yes.
it doesn't end the movement.
They become larger than life at that point.
Exactly. I mean, someone shot Charlie Kirk, someone assassinated Charlie Kirk. That didn't end,
And now Erica Kirk is bigger than ever.
right? That didn't end Turning Point in any way, shape, or form.
Well, their
You,
last
you
event was
know,
pretty meagerly attended.
but I don't think that was a result of it might his absence, his death, yes, I'm sure played a part in it. But I also think there's an element of, and I was just listening to who was this? Audie Cornish, former
Yeah,
uh, you know,
NPR.
NPR. She's now CNN. She's got her own podcast, and she was interviewing someone who I forget the woman's name, but she writes for the New York Times. And they were talking about, is this the beginning of the end of the manosphere?
Mm,
Right? Because we still have these ridiculous, manosphere dudes,
right.
but like more and more people are realizing that what they're basically doing is doing all this shit to hawk products, make money. And there's a great documentary on Netflix they talked about, which I have to watch, where when some of these manosphere dudes are pushed on their views with women in the room, like their wives, like their mothers, they're backing down because a lot of this is performative bullshit
Right.
for for gullible minds,
For the incel community.
for the incel community. They're right. So yeah. So I don't know. Killing is not solving anything. And people are realizing more and more that these manosphere guys, that manosphere philosophy it's not gonna hold up, and for no other reason than you like the men who are following these teachings aren't actually getting what they want,
Right.
like, or what's being promised to them.
Right.
Like there's no one deep in the manosphere who's actually getting more dates,
Right.
right?
Right. They're not manly or accepting their own minds.
Exactly. The thing that drove them to the manosphere is the thing that they want. Like they're being like, we want to be accepted, we want to be loved, and in most cases, it's straight men by women, and
Right.
so they're being sold this bill of goods. Like, then you need to be more masculine, and here's what
You need the
masculinity
you need the
looks like.
beard products we're selling.
You need all the stupid things,
Yeah.
and it's not working.
Right. Correct.
So I
Because there's
think
bigger
more,
problems, namely you.
namely you, exactly. So I think we're beginning to maybe be at the beginning of the decline of a lot of that
Yeah.
nonsense. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So in the shooter's manifesto, he noted that some will object to what he's doing because of Jesus' teaching of nonviolence, turning the other cheek. He says, turning the other cheek is for when you yourself are oppressed, but turning the other cheek when someone else is oppressed is not Christian behavior. It is complicity in the oppressor's crimes. So he thinks he's acting on behalf of those oppressed by Trump's policies, let's say, and they because they can't stand up for themselves, he's going to stand up for them. And so he
Right.
thinks it's not going against Christ to do this. I think that's a stretch. I don't agree with him on that. What do you think?
I mean, in theory, yes, but poor execution. Like,
No pun intended, because there was no execution in the
oh,
end.
sometimes I am funniest when I am not trying to be.
Right.
The because yes, I there needs to be others who speak for the voiceless, right? I
Mhm.
mean, you think about it, that kind of was Jesus's ministry.
Yeah, but
He
speak for the voiceless is a long ways from murder for the
But
voiceless.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Good theory, poor execution,
Yes, yes,
right?
right.
Because Jesus never went out and killed nobody,
Right. It's like
right?
go advocate for policies you believe in and work to make them happen by
Right.
cooperating with others.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Go be part of the No King's March. Go
Right.
vote. Like
Yes.
there are many ways you can not be turning a cheek on behalf of someone who's oppressed. As in you use your places of privilege and your places of power to advocate for the powerless, right? I think that's Christ-like behavior.
Yeah.
Christ demonstrated that.
100%.
But making it an act of violence to the point where you're taking another's life, no, that's
Right.
not okay.
And as you said, even if he had been successful, which he wasn't, what he's done has backfired completely because all
Mm-hmm.
this attempt does is provide fodder for the right to be like, look, the left is so violent, and for Trump to immediately pivot and say, look, that's why I need this ballroom so that I can be safe from, threats. And it takes the news cycle away from the Iran war, the Epstein files, rising
Yeah,
prices, everything Trump doesn't want to talk about because it's all going poorly. He can now move away from because, oh, look, poor me. Once again, someone's after me.
yeah. But back to the conspiracy idea of it being staged, correlation and causation are two different things. Also, like, I'm glad that shooter didn't succeed. If for no other reason, then now we won't have President JD Vance, which would have what would have happened.
Right.
And, like,
Right.
for all the heinous evil that Trump does, it's like, in many ways, he's like just a bumbling idiot
Right.
who is wreaking havoc, right? Imagine if that havoc was being instigated by someone who's actually intelligent and actually knows what they're doing,
Correct. Yep.
right? So, yeah, give me a dumb despot over uh intelligent tyrant any day.
Yes. Yes.
Lesser of two evils.
The lesser of two evils, the dumb despot. Nice. Nice.
I think that's our show title,
That
The
might
Dumb
be the show.
Despot.
That might be the show title. It might have to be. Wow.
In praise of the dumb despot.
There you go. There you go. Wow. Wow.
uh,
All right. Our last question. Friedrich Nietzsche said, "To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." So, do you agree with this? Is this too bleak? And how does one find meaning in suffering?
it is bleak, but unfortunately, it is true. You're not gonna live and not have some suffering,
Right. Right.
right? It is a fact. Nietzsche said it. The Buddha said it. Like it's a reality of life. Um, and I would maybe swap out the survive and put the word thrive.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I would say to find some meaning in the suffering, I would say the meaning of anything is what we give to it, which is probably what they're saying there is to assert your agency in the midst of the suffering.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we can shift our mentality from this is happening to me to um in my spiritual context, I'm like, the shift is from this is happening to me to this is an opportunity for me to show up as the divine,
Right.
right? um and the idea isn't to end our suffering, because to live is to experience loss, to experience pain, to, I mean, disappointment, like everything. You can't come in and leave this world and not have suffered in some way. So yeah, and suffering is in degrees. Depending on
Right.
your gender, your race, your orientation, your poverty
Loca
level, yeah,
location. Yeah.
your social location, like all the things that determines the extent of the potential of your suffering. And yeah, if we can harness that suffering, or almost allow suffering to be a catalyst in our growth moving forward,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I agree.
as you said, shifting the why is this happening to me, which promotes a sort of helplessness, to this is happening, drop the to me and drop the why.
Mm-hmm.
This is what is. How now am I going to show up in the midst of what is happening?
Exactly. Exactly. And how we decide to show up, I think, is the meaning that we create out of the suffering.
Right.
Yeah. So no, I agree with it. And it is bleak, but it's also hopeful.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Because he talks about
Only.
surviving, not
Yeah.
letting it be the end.
Yeah. The first part of it is bleak, but the second part sort of like, you know gives us some hope that to live is to suffer is not the end. It's not
Not the
the That's not the be all
totality.
and end all of it.
It's
It's
not
not
the
the
totality,
totality.
right? Because
Exactly.
to live is also
Yeah.
to laugh, to enjoy, to experience incredible things, you know.
Exactly.
Also suffering, but not just suffering.
Right. And some of the same things that make you laugh will make you suffer.
Sure.
And some of the things that allow you to experience love will also be some of the things and people that make you suffer
That's right.
as a result, and will break your heart and all the things.
Yeah.
So it's suffering is in what is it? What is the Buddha saying? Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. I think
Ooh.
is how the
Something like that.
saying
Yeah, that sounds
goes.
right.
Yeah, yeah. And the suffering being a choice, I always interpret that as we get to choose the meaning of what that painful experience was, and what we take from it. And yes, the first step is to shift from it's happening to me, which is a challenging concept to grasp, depending on the level of oppression you're facing,
For sure.
right? Because when you have an administration that is on this like inexplicable anti-trans bent, and you lose your job, or you lose your place in society, or you lose your health care because you're trans, because this government specifically created policies, it's hard to say to that person it's not happening to you,
That's right.
right? So let's acknowledge that most of the people who will like be cool with this saying are people who got some
Have a
privileges,
certain amount of,
right?
that's right, a certain amount of privilege, a certain amount of comfort.
Exactly. But you can also say to the folks, to those folks, okay, sure, you are being targeted, and at the same time, one, it the targeting of you is not the defining element of your life, and in spite of that targeting and the loss you may have suffered, you can still find love, joy, hope. You can still live as you are and find community and find support. So the two things can go hand in hand. But I'm very wary these days to say, when people say this is happening to me, to refute them based on where they are.
Right. And it's something, this is something you have to live into yourself. You can't make someone else do this. Like, we all have to
Correct.
own how we experience life, how we experience pain and suffering and get through it. Now, if it's a close friend, you can show up for them, you can encourage them. But as soon as you tell someone how to do it, or you should X, Y, or Z, it's often not received real well. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry.
We missed your insight.
There is, I agree with you, but there's also something to point it out to folks. Like, yes, you can't make them drink, but maybe you can lead them to the water a little bit, or at least point in the direction of where the water is.
Yes.
Sort
Yes.
of deal, which is often the role of clergy.
Yeah, that's right. That's fair.
To say that, and as long as we don't get attached to them drinking, finding the water, and drinking it, we won't lose our minds as pastors.
Fair. Very fair.
Got to be clear. I'll never forget what a Buddhist friend and mentor of mine told me years ago, when I asked him about, I'd taken on my first job as basically a senior pastor of a church, and he was like, "How's it going?" And I was like, "I think it's going well." It was a few months in. I was like, I've realized that I mean, could lead the horses to the water, but I can't make them drink, right?" And he said, and he shakes his head. He's like, Ogun, your job is not to lead any horses to any water. Your job is to stand in the field and be the presence. And when he said that, like,
Ooh,
my whole view of how I show up as a minister changed in like that.
nice.
And it was like I slept a lot better after that night. I'm like,
Right.
that's right. That's, yes, my job is to stand, be the presence. The horses can do whatever the horse is gonna do. This like I'm not. I
It's
got
not
no
on
say.
you.
I got no say. They can go where they want to go. They're gonna do what they want to do. Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
But
There you go.
so
The
yeah,
horses, let the horses run free.
let the horses be horses.
That's right. That's right. Oh, very good. Very good. Well, I think that brings us to a close. So thank you, friends, for tuning in to Pub Theology Live. You can show your love for the show by becoming a supporter on Patreon. Get access to pre and post show banter and more. Again, visit patreon.com/PT Live. That's Pub Theology Live to get started. And a big thank you to our current patrons. You can catch full episodes on YouTube if you don't want to just listen but watch. And top cities tuning in this week: Minneapolis, Minnesota, Scottsdale, Arizona, and Ottawa, Ontario. So thank you to our Canadian listeners. And if you'd like to start a pub theology gathering in your town, find support and resources at pubtheology.com. And until next time, friends, drink responsibly and keep those conversations flowing.